Because if you thought everything was fine, then why would you work to make it better? You wouldn't. Because even though you hate your job, you despise your life, and you can't stand anyone you meet, you do nothing because people like you convince them that instead of working to find a better job or improve their station in life, they should just take some pill and forget that there's even a problem. So you just keep on going, doing the same thing over and over again. There's a reason for angry businessmen and millionaires who come from nothing. It's because growth, progress, improvements, they start from conflict, from chaos. Everything that's ever been invented, ever, was brought forth from chaos. People have a problem. It causes discomfort. They argue. They fight. Someone searches for a way to fix it. They do. The world's better off. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how it used to work. People got mad, sad, depressed, angry, spiteful, jealous. Then they take that and they make something better. They improve things. But now, if every time someone faces a problem and they just take some pill or talk to some fool in a suit, then no one would work to solve anything. They'll just be content with their useless waste of an existence. This right here, what we're doing now, this is why we have restless leg syndrome and why we have more people on antidepressants than anywhere else in the world. The reason this is happening is because the new adults are the ones who grew up their whole lives where standing up for yourself got you in trouble in school, where you were taught to run to an adult for help, where you're not allowed to tell someone they're wrong because it might hurt their feelings. They give trophies to losers and tell them they're just as good and not to change a thing. We care more about each other's feelings than their abilities, and then we go around wondering why we're useless and why we don't do a thing. People need the ability to be angry. It's what propels the world. And you give them a way to quell that anger without fixing the problem. Why in the hell would you continue working to solve anything if it doesn't bother you anymore? And that's where it stalls. Sure, everyone's all nice and happy, but they're as useless as a bag of sand. Trying to build emotional strength by being nice is like trying to build physical strength by relaxing. You need strength of character, principles, and you don't get that by thinking happiness is more important than progress.
Morning.
Good morning. How may I help you?
Oh, I think I can help myself.
Would your friend like one too? There's coffee too.
I'm Detective Ronald Lynch. You think I could have a few minutes with Mr. Smith? Senator. Yes, Senator Smith.
He's in a meeting right now, but if you will have a seat, I'm sure he would be happy to speak with you after.
That'll be fine, thank you. Did you happen to know James Wright?
Is that what this is about? You know, Mr. Smith wouldn't even walk down the same side of the street as James. He would literally cross the street.
Just because of the broken partnership?
Mr. Smith's son, Ike, he took over for Jimmy on the construction end. Anyway, Ike got the wife who's...
She sleeps around.
You didn't hear it from me. I'm pretty sure she and Jimmy has something going on.
And what's her name? Miss Tuttle, would you please cut the check we discussed for Mr. Monroe?
Certainly. Years ago, in LA, I turned a trick on Sunset and Western. The guy was polite and he didn't argue about the price. He was parked in his car and I took him to a house that I had an arrangement with. A fat Mexican woman was watching TV and I told him to give her the 20 for the room. There were 3 or 4 small naked children on the floor and we had to step over them to get into the room. The room had a bed and a dresser. He laid on his back on the bed and I pulled out a rubber and I sucked him for a while until he was hard. And then I eased onto him. About 20 minutes later, there was a knock at the door, and it was the woman saying our time was up. I felt kind of guilty because he hadn't come, and I offered to reason with the woman and get another 10 minutes. But he said it was all right and began dressing. When we were ready to leave the room, he stopped me, hugged me, and kissed me on the cheek. He gave me an extra $100 as a tip and went back to his car. I just remember being relieved that I wouldn't have to work again for that evening. Thank you, Rayleigh.
You're welcome. So is Lilith your real name?
Lily.
How long have you been dancing?
A couple of years now. I've got 2 kids and I need this to get by. Can't exactly make this kind of money at the coffee shop.
Well, what about the father?
He's no help. I had to quit school when he left.
What were you studying?
Psychology. Well, what about you, Rayleigh? What do you do?
Turbine cowboy. I work on wild turbines. I'm a blade technician.
That sounds interesting.
Not really. But I get to travel a lot.
How long have you been doing that?
For less than a year. And I just finished training last fall.
Would you like a lap dance, Rayleigh?